Okay, so a few words about Glenn Dodson. He grew up, I think, outside of the Philadelphia area, I believe, like around like Wayne, PA, or Chester County. I'm not sure. This is all some of the suburbs west of Philadelphia. I think that's where he grew up. He went to Curtis Institute of Music. I think his main teacher was, I believe, Charles Gusakov. Then he ended up in Maine U.S. Marine Band. I guess that would have been Sousa's band, after Sousa, of course. I think that's where one of his first big gigs. And then he played in New Orleans Symphony for a while, and then Chicago. I think he was his assistant first in Chicago, and then he came to Philly. Now, Glenn turns out, even though this is all classical and the symphonic world and all that, he liked jazz. He liked to play Dixieland and stuff like that. And he wasn't big on this embouchure stuff. In other words, he didn't analyze it too much. But what he did do, like his approach to it, like for example, he liked to play outside. Like go out in the field somewhere and just see how far you can project your sound. And I don't have a trombone here, but and the other thing was he played pretty straight out. Now, like I said, he didn't analyze all this stuff as far as like puckering or smiling or whatever. He didn't get into that stuff too much. But what he did get into was, like I said, projecting your sound out, holding your horn up and letting it go, and having good air support. And the symphonic work that he did, I don't know all the horns he had, but he played a pretty big bore horn too. I think he could have played. I think he played a Bach 42. I don't think he went down as far as even a 36. And mouthpiece could have been 6.5 AL. I'm not sure. In other words, this is all kind of a pretty big setup. And he was a big, pretty not really tall, but kind of a stocky guy. And and like I said, he believed in putting some serious air into that horn and thinking of your sound projecting, going out. In other words, you're not blowing down into the floor. You're not blowing into a music stand, you know. And so with this idea of having your sound carry forward, you're also thinking energy. You're thinking like the musical idea. You're thinking, your stream of consciousness. It's all the same thing. You're not on defense now. You're definitely on offense. And even if you're playing soft, I mean, he certainly could play with a lot of finesse and control. But on the other hand, when it was time to blow, it was time to blow. And, he had as much power as anybody in the symphonic world, as far as I know. Of course, and that ended up being helpful for me because he really liked Stan Kenton. And then, shortly after I got out of college, I ended up playing on Stan Kenton's band for a while. Not to mention the fact that I was like a Stan Kenton freak and all of that. So Glenn's approach to getting a sound out of a brass instrument, even though he didn't get analytical as far as your chops or anything like that, where's your jaw, he didn't get into that stuff too much. But his idea was just, blow, air, support it with air, and like I said, with a large bore horn, he's moving serious air. So, like I said, that really also ended up being like a perfect concept of sound and an approach to playing for when I later played on Stan Kenton's band. So I spent 3 years out of my four at PMA with Glenn Dodson, and then for my last year I switched to a different teacher named Roger DeLillo. He was more in the jazz. He went to Berkeley and played on Woody Herman's band and stuff like that. So I was with him for my final year in college. Now, another thing, between my second and third year in college, for a summer job, I played in the Catskill Mountains in New York. I was 19 years old, so I was playing shows and stuff The following year, I spent part of the summer in the Catskills at a different hotel, at a hotel called the Raleigh Hotel in South Fallsburg, New York. And I didn't really like the job, and I didn't stay there too long, like about half the summer. And, I missed my girlfriend and different things like that. But in hindsight, there was sort of a turning point that occurred, even though I didn't realize it at the time, on that gig at the Raleigh Hotel.